Today, May the 23rd, it is the uh, fourth Dharma talk in this Satipatthana meditation, fifth Dharma talk during this 10-day Satipatthana meditation retreat. On previous day, there has been explanation on the second verse replied by the Buddha to the celestial being. Hiri Rasa apalambo satyasa parivarana dhammahan saratham brumi sammaditi purejavam. In the carriage going to Nibbana, moral shame is the backrest. So one has to lean on this backrest of Hiri in order not to fall backward. And as a yogi, one needs to have moral shame, moral fear from kilesa defilements that can arise. Any moment there is lack of mindfulness. So having moral shame and moral fear, yogi takes utmost care not to miss, not to fail, to note any object. So in this way, having moral shame and moral fear, yogi doesn't fall backward. Satyasa parivaranam. In this carriage, mindfulness is the protective cover. So in the Satipatthana practice, so long as there is mindfulness, the mind is safe and secure because it is protected by mindfulness. Having mindfulness as the protection, defilements do not enter the mind. At the moment, sati, mindfulness, is present as protection. Ramahan Saratain Brumi. So in this carriage, the driver is Magga Samaditi. So when one attains the path knowledge, the Samaditi that arises associating with path knowledge, this Samaditi is the driver that drives you to Nibbana so that you reach Nibbana. And in order to attain Magga Samaditi, there should be Samaditi Purijavam. One needs to cultivate Samaditi as a forerunner. So in the Satipatthana practice, one needs to cultivate Samaditi stage by stage, which is the forerunner. And finally, when you attain path knowledge, it will be Magga Samaditi. So as a yogi, when noting presently arising objects such as rising, falling of the abdomen, when noting rising, when one aims and direct the mind, putting effort, the mind being pushed towards the object, when mindfulness is sustained on the object, when the mind fall calm collected on the object, when sati and samadhi become strong, one notices the nature of the object that has been noted, such as when noting rising, one notices stiffness, tension, and as the yogi notes onwards, yogi come to notice distinctly between mind and matter. When noting rising, the materiality rising, which is obvious as stiff, tense, or heat, or pressure, movement, and the noting mind that notes it. So in this way, yogi come to discern distinctly between mind and matter. And at that very moment, of discerning mind and matter, yogi clearly understand that there is no self, no soul. What is there is the stiffness, tension, materiality, and the mind that knows it. There are only these two, mentality and materiality, no person, no being. So, in this way, at that very moment of discerning mind and matter, one removes atta-ditti, wrong view of personality, momentarily at that very moment. But if one is not mindful, such wrong view can come back again only when you discern mind and matter at that very moment. One removes atta-ditti momentarily. But in order to remove atta-ditti totally, one needs to attain first path knowledge. Once one become a Sotapanna, attaining the first path knowledge, one will totally remove atta-ditti to the point of no return. In order to get there, one needs to discern mind and matter. Discerning mind and matter, it is samadhi, but not vipassana yet. It is only the foundation. Yesterday, I gave an example of sitting down. Before sitting down, yogi has to note the intention to sit and the actual sitting, wanting to sit, wanting to sit, wanting to sit. And when sitting, not abruptly, but yogi has to pay attention, focus the mind on the whole body sitting, noting sitting inch by inch, focusing the mind on the whole body. So yogi come to notice such as stiffness, tension, heaviness. So in this way, noting the intention to sit as well as the actual sitting, yogi comes to understand that intention to sit is the cause, the actual sitting down, heavier, stiff, and tense, it is the effect. If there is no intention to sit, sitting will not take place. Because there is the intention to sit, sitting takes place. In this way, yogi understands cause and effect. Understanding cause and effect through one's practice, one removes ahetuka-ditti, one removes the wrong view of causelessness momentarily at the very moment of discerning cause and effect. But if one is not mindful, if one doesn't discern cause and effect, ahetuka-ditti can arise at any moment. But at that very moment of discerning cause and effect, one removes ahetuka-ditti momentarily. In order to remove it totally, one needs to attain the first path knowledge. By attaining Sotapatti Magga, one removes ahetuka-ditti totally. In the hearing process, there are 5 factors that are most obvious in the hearing. The sound waves, materiality, the ear base, which is the receptor, the ear sensitivity. So when the striker sound waves strike the ear sensitivity, hearing consciousness, hearing contact, hearing feeling arises. So in this case, sound waves and the ear sensitivity, which are materiality, they are the cause. Hearing consciousness, hearing contact, hearing feeling, they are the mentality effect. So due to this cause, the effect, hearing takes place. When a yogi hears a sound, noting as a whole, hearing, 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 yogi can notice any one of these five factors at the moment of hearing, but do not deliberately analyze. Just note hearing, hearing at the moment of arising, and when sati, mindfulness, and samadhi concentration become continuous and strong, one can notice the cause giving rise to effect. So, because there are the sound waves and the ear sensitivity, the sound waves strike the ear sensitivity, hearing takes place. It is coming to understand that relevant cause is giving rise to relevant effect. So if the sound wave strikes the ear sensitivity, hearing takes place. Even if a creator prevents the person not to hear, but so long as the causes are there, the effect, hearing, will take place. So in this way, understanding that relevant cause gives rise to relevant effect, one removes Visamahetuka fictitious wrong view, momentarily. And if a person's ear sensitivity is not good, even though there are sounds in the surrounding, noises in the surrounding, but if a person's ear sensitivity is not good, even thousands of creators cannot create the person to hear if the ear sensitivity is not good. So, in this way, coming to understand relevant cause give rise to relevant effect, one will no longer believe in creator. What is really there are the cause and effect. If there is the cause, effect will take place. It is not the creator that is creating the person to hear, the person to see, and so on. So, in this way, a yogi no longer believes in creator when he or she comes to discern relevant cause gives rise to relevant effect. When yogis are noting presently arising objects such as rising, falling, or sitting, touching, or lifting, moving, placing, yogi has to be mindful, focusing the mind, aiming, directing the mind onto the object, putting effort, pushing the mind towards the object in order to see the nature characteristic of the object that has been noted. So just like food, every kind of food has their own unique flavor, sweet, sour, pungent, spicy, and so on. In the same way, each of the nama and rupa have their own unique characteristics. They are called sabhava lakkhana, unique characteristic, unique individual characteristics such as Patavi Dhatu, earth element has the unique individual characteristic, hardness, roughness. The Vayu Dhatu has the unique individual characteristic of stiffness, tension. The mind has the unique individual characteristic of cognizing the object and so on. So it is important to know the unique individual characteristic. So there are three kinds of characteristics. The first one is unique individual characteristic as explained above. Stiffness, tension, heat, cold. And Sankata Lakkhana, it is the Opada, Titi, Panga, the three moments of arising, presence, and dissolution. Only if one has discerned the unique individual characteristic of uh, stiffness, tension, and so on. Later on, as the yogi comes to discern these unique individual characteristics, when knowledge is stronger, the three moments of arising, presence, and dissolution, upada, titi, and bhanga, will become obvious. One doesn't have to look for it deliberately, but if one discerns the true natures, stiffness, tension, and so on, and if knowledge is stronger, these three moments will become obvious automatically. It is Sankata Lakkhana. When noting the object, heat, for example, yogi noted as heat, heat, or hot, hot. At first, yogi come to notice Sabhava Lakkhana, the unique individual characteristic, heat. But as the yogi notes on and on, the mindfulness, concentration stronger, then yogi also come to uh, then the three moments become obvious itself, the beginning, middle, and the end. And as the yogi note heat, 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 while he note the heat, yogi also come to know how it arises and how it passes away. So discerning how the heat arises and passes away, it is samanya lakkhana, impermanence. It is the samanya lakkhana, common characteristic, because whatever object that arises comes to dissolution, comes to go away. This nature of impermanent is common to all the nama rupa, and that's why they are called samanya lakkhana, common characteristic of impermanence. So in order to discern the impermanence, yogi has to note whatever object that is obvious at the present moment. At first, yogi will discern unique individual characteristic only when only after when discerning unique individual characteristic, the three moments will become obvious. And when realizing, when noticing the dissolution of the object that has been noted, yogi also come to understand the impermanence, the characteristic of impermanence. Only when the yogi discerns this dissolution of the object, yogi understands the characteristic of impermanence, and vipassana knowledge has arisen. It is vipassana samadhi, discerning, arising, passing away of the object that has been noted. So it is not theoretical knowledge, it is what the yogi come to discern through his or her experience of meditation while noting the object. Yogi discern arising and passing away, and thus yogi cultivates vipassana knowledge, vipassana samadhi. So that's why it is said that only when one discerns the unique individual characteristic, Sabhava Lakkhana, then the three moments, Sankata Lakkhana, will be obvious. Only when the three moments, Sankata Lakkhana, are obvious, Samanya Lakkhana, common characteristic, will be discerned, and thus one cultivates vipassana knowledge. So in the word vipassana, vi means various, passana means to discern, to know. So vipassana means discerning various, discerning the various manners of impermanent suffering and non-self. There are three things that should be known. Anicca. Anicca, impermanent. So whatever that arises, the nama rupa, whatever that arises, they are anicca, impermanent. For example, heat arises. Heat is anicca because it is impermanent. This heat, after arising, it goes away. So after arising, it goes away. It is anicca lakkhana, characteristic of impermanence. While noting heat, while noting as heat, yogi discerns the dissolution of heat and come to understand that it is impermanent. So the knowledge coming to discern the impermanence, it is anicca nupassana, anicca nupassana. So discerning the impermanence while noting the object, while while noting the object, when you see it disappear, you come to notice the impermanence and you gain knowledge, anicca nupassana knowledge, and it is vipassana. And as the yogi continue to note vipassana knowledge, one gain vipassana knowledge stage by stage, and finally, when knowledge becomes ripened, one attains the path knowledge. So in this way, the carriage to Nibbana is driven by this Riya Magga Samadhi that has the Samadhi as the forerunner. So in order for the driver to drive us to Nibbana, we need to cultivate Samadhi stage by stage until we attain path knowledge. Then this Magga Samadhi is the driver who drive us uh, to reach our destination. So an hour is up. We will stop here for today. May everyone be able to have a smooth ride in this carriage, Eight Noble Path practice carriage, and reach the destination Nibbana very soon.
Sadhu, 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 sadhu.